Hey guys, Joe here, and welcome now to this 19th episode of the Daily Sketch series. And woo, I'm about to finish. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the previous videos, I recorded them all in a single day. Not the drawing part, but the voiceovers. I did like 5 today, and this is the last one, so I'm very excited about that because I just want to stop talking. My mouth hurts. And yeah, I also want to get my bird inside because I had to take him out so that I could record without the screaming and screeching sounds going to be forming part of the background noise of the video. So yeah, that's nice too. And for this video, I just wanted to share some insights as to what I've learned with charcoal so far. I know that I've only been using it for a very short time, but still I just wanted to let you guys know, so in case that you're wondering the same stuff that I've been wondering so far, or in case I need a reminder later on in life of what it was like to start working with a new medium so that I don't get discouraged, then this is like going to be that kind of video. And one of the things that I was very unaware of when I started was that blending is a very huge part of charcoal, and one of the main things you have to consider when you're trying to blend charcoal is that it's very different to graphite pencils. Charcoal actually depends a lot on softness. For it to be blendable is kind of similar to graphite in the sense that they also, the softer the lead, the easier it is to blend. But with charcoal, the softer the lead is, you're going to get to a point in which it's almost like painting with sand or with just dust as opposed to pigment or graphite. So you're going to be able to smudge it very nicely on the surface of the paper. So if you're looking to get stuff similar to the stuff or to the drawings that you're seeing on YouTube, then you're probably better off trying to get a charcoal stick as opposed to charcoal pencils. What I've learned so far is that most of the people here on YouTube, the videos that they upload, they usually always start off with a charcoal bar, and then when they get like the whole structure of the face, they move around the charcoal very nicely with their fingers without having to worry about leaving marks on the paper, no matter what paper they are using. This is also something that I want to mention in like the incoming minutes of this video. But yeah, one of the things that they do is that they start with the charcoal block or bar or whatever it is that they are using, and then they get very dark areas, and then they start smudging everything to form the shapes. And that's something that you're going to only be able to do if you're using a bar as opposed to a pencil, because pencils are too hard. It doesn't matter if you have a very soft one, you still are going to leave marks on your paper. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is that paper doesn't really matter with charcoal. Of course, you're going to get very different results depending on the paper that you're using, but for the most part, if you want to achieve that same effect that the people here on YouTube are achieving, which is just having very very abstract strokes and being able to move the pigment around the paper, you're better off trying with a soft charcoal bar as opposed to worrying about the paper, because you can use any kind of paper and it's going to go in just as smoothly if it's a smooth bar. Depending on the paper, it's going to be a little bit easier to keep that pigment in place. Like the more tooth the paper has, like the more texture it has, the easier it is going to be for the charcoal to stay on the specific spot that you place it, as opposed to when you're using very light or very light textured or soft paper, like for example some Bristol board. If you were to use that with charcoal, you were going to get a very messy result, because the paper doesn't have a lot of tooth, and so you wouldn't be able to really stick charcoal in a specific area, and it is going to just be moving around very easily. So yeah, I myself want to try out those sticks because I really enjoy the abstract look of the portraits that I've been seeing here on YouTube. They don't have a lot of views, and I don't know why people are not that much into fine art on YouTube, but I am a lot. I really enjoy that feeling of abstraction, and just it looks very artsy to me as opposed to more render stuff. Like, here's a drawing or a sketch that I tried to do in that style a little bit more as opposed to the one that you can see on the left. I thought it would be a nice comparison to have them that close together, just for me to also be able to tell if I was making any progress in the sense of making my stuff a little bit more fine artsy. And I'm not saying this to sound like a snob, I'm just saying it because I really enjoy that kind of style. Like, for example, in the left you can see that it's more of a graphic style, or maybe not even graphic, but more illustrative. It looks more like an illustration than a fine art project or drawing or sketch. So that's something that I've been trying to work on, and something that I've been seeing a lot of these artists do is that they don't really worry about the eyes too much. Like, they cover them in black completely and then go in with a kneaded eraser and just draw or take out some of the pigment out of the paper so that you can get the feeling that there's an eye in there, but they don't ever actually draw the lashes or stuff like that. Like, they leave everything very blocky or very shape oriented, which is something that I think is very important if you want to achieve realism with a touch of abstraction, which is what I'm trying to do with my like art journey. That's where I ultimately want to end up being at. And something I've been noticing is that they don't really place a lot of lines. Instead, they focus a lot on shapes. And I know this is very easy said than done, because I've been aware of this for a long time now, but I don't know if I've actually been implementing it enough, or if I'm doing it right, you know? Because most of these artists tend to treat the face or whatever they're painting or drawing like a sculpture, and then they carve the features out with shadow and light, and that's something that I don't think I'm very good at yet. Maybe you can see the portrait on the right and be like, well, that's something better than I can do myself, but that's not the point, really. What I'm trying to say, I'm not saying that I'm bad at drawing. I don't believe that I'm terrible at drawing. Maybe I'm not the best, but I'm not also the worst. What I'm trying to say is that I don't handle shadows as nicely as I probably could. Like, most of the light in my portrait is very how can I say it, like very studio-like or very flat, maybe. I feel like if I were to have more dramatic shadows on the eye sockets and under the nose and under the eyes, cheekbones and everything, it will help to make it look more dramatic on overall, or more artistic, which is ultimately my goal. I intended to practice or to incorporate a new element in this sketch, which was going to be just having a very abstract lines and markings near the ears and the hair. But I didn't want to mess up the drawing on the left, because I was yet to scan it and take a picture of it so that I could upload it to the daily sketches videos, because I didn't do that before, and so I didn't want to mess that up or smudge it or just mess around with it, because it would just ruin the whole aesthetic of the channel or of the videos, and so I didn't end up doing that. But in the end, I believe that it came out a little bit better than the one on the left, a little bit more geared towards where I want to be. It's not perfect yet, as I said, but it's definitely, I can see definitely like more direction in this portrait to where I want to be than with the ones that I was doing before. Not that I don't like the ones that I was doing before, like I really like them. I think they came out very nicely and very pretty, but it's not where I want to be. Like, sometimes I get distracted with this illustration style and I forget the things that I actually was aiming for in the beginning. But yeah, I think this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm also very sorry because I just noticed that this video was all unfocused, and that's something that happened in one of the previous videos, and I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, if you liked it, then make sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, thanks for watching.